So another phase of this franchise-changing 2021 offseason has come and gone as offseason activities have officially concluded. Now, it's been quite an action-packed 2021 offseason, from firing Doug Marrone to bringing in Urban Meyer, to all the hype of having a number one overall pick, building a brand new coaching staff, 2 first-round picks, all these draft picks, signing all these different players. It's all kind of come and gone, and then now they were all kind of finally able to practice with each other for the first time this season, and all these events have now gone by. And what offseason activity really is, it consists of 3 days of rookie mini camps where only the rookies report. Then there's 10 voluntary OTAs, and then there's a mandatory 3-day mini camp. Now, it was very cool with the 10 OTAs that are fully voluntary. Every player at some point did report. Usually there are some players that decide not to come because they want to do their own thing. But I think it was pretty significant that they all showed up to these offseason activities. Now, granted, the Jaguars currently don't have the age veterans that the guys that usually don't show up. I know in the past there's been guys like Jalen Ramsey, Maurice Jones-Drew, Mercedes Lewis, guys like that decided that they would kind of rather do their own thing in the offseason, and they never really reported. But the Jaguars, young team, obviously a bunch of first and second year players, as well as some recently signed kind of veterans on a team. Everybody showed up, which I think is pretty significant. Now, I guess we'll start off this whole thing by kind of going into more player bases. Trevor Lawrence, obviously, he's going to lead a lot of discussions, and he was pretty much as advertised. I mean, he had some days where the reports out that he just had some incredible throws. He had, I guess, one bad practice where he threw a couple of interceptions. But I guess at the end of the day, he was as advertised. I don't think he necessarily blew anybody away like, wow, I did not think this guy could do that. We all kind of know what Trevor Lawrence can do. So during offseason activities, I don't know if there's a lot that he can really do to impress. Now, unfortunately, he was battling some minor hamstring issues. Urban Meyer did say that if there was a game, he would be able to play. But the last thing they want to do is have him tweak some kind of hamstring thing, and all of a sudden in training camp it lingers over there. They just want to make sure, like, hey, like, just kind of hold him down for a little bit, make sure he's 100% healthy in training camp, and kind of roll forward with that. Now, even though he did have this hamstring tightness, he still did participate in 7-on-7s, so that all is very cool. And it did come out that Trevor Lawrence isn't necessarily slotted in as a starting quarterback. There is some kind of competition, a quarterback competition going on, but I think we all know where this is headed. Now, next I want to touch into Travis Etienne. Now, obviously, Travis Etienne was drafted at number 25 overall for the Jaguars, and it was quite a questionable move. Everyone was like, why are we drafting a running back at pick number 25? And then during rookie minicamp, he was taking snaps, pretty much all his snaps at wide receiver. But now he is kind of settling also into that running back role, while he is also spreading out at wide receiver. He's been doing a little bit of both, but it looks like he is getting most of his work in there at running back. So, he's kind of prepping to be that third down running back for us. And, we'll kind of see how the RB load kind of does. I still think at the end of the day that James Robinson will have more carries than Travis Etienne, but maybe not as many touches. I mean, you never know. Maybe at the end of the day that Travis Etienne gets more actual touches when it comes to carries combined with actual receptions than James Robinson does. But James Robinson, I still think he's going to be a huge part of this offense, and I don't think, obviously, this might affect him as a 3-down back, but I don't think it affects James Robinson as a first and second down back. Now, it's been coming out that really the star of the OTAs has been Laviska Shenault. Now, Laviska Shenault is going into his second year on the Jaguars after being drafted in the second round out of Colorado. Last season, he had 58 catches for 600 yards and 5 touchdowns. And Laviska Shenault was really fascinating to watch because, when you compare him to a guy like DJ Chark, I feel like we've seen DJ Chark type of wide receivers before. Most notably with Allen Robinson, just a big, tall, 50-50 back shoulder type of guy. But Laviska Shenault was just different. He was a guy that has great contact balance. He is very powerful. He does not go down easy. He hits very hard, very physical kind of guy. And he also had great awareness and great hands as well. And he was just a ton of fun to watch. And unfortunately, we weren't able to necessarily root for him to help us win games, but he did do some really cool stuff last year, and it has us all intrigued that he really is a true, similar to Travis Etienne, he's a true offensive weapon, as last year he also received snaps out of the backfield. So Laviska Shenault, it's cool to hear that he's having a great OTA period. And I think really a lot of our wide receivers, from DJ Chark to Colin Johnson, a lot of these guys are going to be really, really fun to watch. Now, I can't end the offensive part of this video without mentioning Tim Tebow. Now, Tim Tebow, according to Mio O'Brien, he caught every single pass that was thrown to him. Right now, Tim Tebow is in great shape. I mean, everybody looks at him, and his arms are absolutely huge. They look like cannons. But I will say the thing that I'm most looking for, and one thing I'm excited to see really during the preseason, is really how quick is he? Because I remember even during his heyday at Florida and his first couple years in the NFL, he wasn't necessarily all that fast. You know what I mean? He could get around well. I mean, he knew how to move in the open field, but he was never a quick guy. So I want to make sure that in preseason, he's not just like a plotter. He can actually kind of make some moves and get places quickly, because I did notice when I saw some short clips of him from cell phone videos, he is a little bit slow off the ball. But it is exciting. I'm still excited about the Tebow thing. I'll be rooting for him to succeed. Not only is it good for him, but it's good for the Jaguars too. So this is one guy that I am definitely rooting for. Now, I want to switch it to the defensive side of the field and talking about K'Lavon Chaisson. Now, K'Lavon Chaisson was the 20th overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft, and a first-round pick we received from the Jalen Ramsey trade, and it was a bad season for him last year. I mean, there's no way around that. Really, the first half of the year, the guy was invisible. We never heard his name. We barely saw him in there. He wasn't making any impact. None of that. And he did make a little bit of news just because he did miss the minicamp due to a failed COVID test. Obviously, this is something that we saw a lot in 2020, so nothing to be too really worried about there. But he needs to have a big season this upcoming season. I mean, obviously, I know in the offseason he probably did a lot of work. He's actually going to be attending Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware's pass rush camp, so that should help him out a little bit. Now, I do think this guy has a great work ethic. I mean, I remember seeing him work with Joey Bosa after a game, and I do think that he wants to be great along with Josh Allen. But K'Lavon Chaisson, I mean, we invested a first-round pick in him. You're able to kind of get that 1 year of, okay, that's fine. You're finding your way into the league. We'll be patient with you. But the training wheels kind of come off next year, and I think it's going to be a good scheme for him. Obviously, he fits better in a 3-4 where he's going to kind of be able to line up in a 2-point stance more of the time. But he really needs to find his footing, and it looked like he did put on some weight, so that's going to be good for him as he was very undersized in 2020. But K'Lavon Chaisson, the Jaguars are going to succeed in 2021 and go to heights that we kind of mentioned. We kind of hint that maybe the Jaguars go to the playoffs. The optimistic people do, but if that becomes a reality, it's going to have to come with some help from K'Lavon Chaisson. Now, I also want to touch on C.J. Henderson, another first-round pick from last year's draft, number 9 overall. He is still recovering from his groin injury. He suffered a groin injury in November of the 2020 season, 8 games into the season, and he's still not 100%, like I said, so this is a 7th-month recovery for him. Now, Urban Meyer and them, they don't seem too worried about it. They're kind of saying, oh, yeah, he'll be fine by training camp, whatever. But it is a little concerning to me. I mean, I'm not a medical expert. I don't pretend to be. But 7 months from a groin injury, man, that just seems very, very excessive. So I'm really hoping that he comes back strong. And obviously, we had a whole defensive back just turnover when it comes to just really upgrading every single position, it seemed like. I mean, at safety, we brought in Rayshon Jenkins and Andre Sisco. And at the cornerback spot, we bring in Shaquille Griffin and draft Tyson Campbell with a 33rd overall pick. So we have a lot of moving parts really in the defensive backfield, but we're going to need, obviously, if you draft the guy number 9 overall, you need impact from that player. So I'm really hoping that we can rely on CJ Henderson to come back strong and be a real impact player for the Jaguars, because I remember he had a couple of really good games. I mean, his first game against the Colts was outstanding. He had a game-winning kind of pass breakup, and he was even locking down Devontae Adams for the most part in the Green Bay game before kind of getting injured. So, yeah, CJ Henderson, it's just been very quiet on the news front with him, but I mean, we need big impact out of him. Now, lastly, I do want to touch on the kickers. Now, there is right now an open competition between Josh Lambo and Aldrick Rosas, who is actually the kicker for the most part last year. He's one of our, 9 kickers that we brought out there last year. Last year, Rosas was 8 for 11 on field goal attempts for us. And Lambo was 5 of 5 before kind of suffering his hip injury. Now, one under-talked about part of the Jaguars is with Josh Lambo is the fact that with his 4 seasons on the Jaguars, he's finished 2 of those seasons on the injured reserve. So he hasn't been healthy. I mean, half the seasons on the Jaguars, he's ended on the IR. That's not good. And last year, he had the hip injury. He came back too early and re-aggravated it. And that's another injury, man. The hip, I don't know much about it, but it's a weird injury. And I just don't know. I mean, I'm not Mr. Sports Science guy, but I can definitely tell you that a lot of the hip is used when you kick a ball. You know what I mean? So, I mean, hopefully he's recovering okay from this. But obviously, we all know that Lambo is a beast of a kicker, man. Like, if he keeps playing, he could break a lot of Josh Scobie's records when it comes to field goal percentage, and he's never missed a field goal at TIAA Bank Field. It's just, it's remarkable, and he's a beast of a kicker. Unfortunately, not a lot of people around the NFL know about him because we haven't really given him the opportunity to have many clutch, crunch time kicks. So it's unfortunate, but man, we really got to hope his health stays good, because having a kicker in today's NFL is definitely a luxury, because there are great teams that can't figure out that position. And once you figure out that position, you kind of take it for granted. But, just a lot of bad kicking around the NFL. And we got to hope and pray that Josh Lambo can stay healthy. So that's about it for this. I mean, there are a lot of different press conferences and stuff like that you can kind of go listen to, kind of firsthand reports from whoever, Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence, a bunch of the players and coaches talk. So if you guys want more information, you can kind of go for that. I am a little bit happy that this period is over, just because it does kind of drive me nuts, because it's like, I really, really wish I could watch, because I hate taking secondhand. I hate saying, oh, this guy said that Laviska Shenault had a great day. Oh, this guy said that Trevor Lawrence threw a beautiful ball to this. You know what I mean? It's like, I would much rather be there and be able to tell you guys from what I saw. But unfortunately, I don't have that luxury. So we got to kind of take what the other people say. So it's now the Jaguars are entering official, I guess, if there's any offseason, now is the offseason where the Jaguars will be able to take the next 6 or 7 weeks off. They go back, they spend as much time with their family as they can. They get their bodies as ready for training camp as they can, and then the grind really starts, man. The grind to get ready for the season, to really study out the playbook, to really grind this roster from 90 to 53 players, and really get your best team forward comes out here. And it's going to be awesome. We have 3 games of preseason this year, and preseason is always a lot more fun when you have a rookie quarterback that you get to watch. So very, very excited about that. Sorry about the break that I took, man. I know I haven't really posted a good video in a week or two. Just, I guess, taking a little bit of a tolerance break, I guess you can say. But I am back. Hopefully there's going to be some good news that comes out. I'll definitely be doing some live streams soon. And, this is the time to really relax, man. But, yeah, I did get my Trevor Lawrence jersey. So big shout out to B New for the donation, for giving me that. And also big shout out to all the members of the channel for all you guys do for the channel. Really appreciate it. And with all that said, thank you guys for watching. Go Jags. You guys watched the whole video. Really appreciate that. You guys can subscribe to the channel for the best source of Jaguars news on the YouTube platform. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at UCF_Jaguar. And you can become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month for exclusive channel content. Thank you guys, and go Jags.